This is the Let's Go Win podcast with your host, J.M. Ryerson.
Hey, what's happening, you guys? Welcome to another Tuesday tune-up. I'm J.M. Ryerson. We're listening to the Let's Go Win podcast. I guess I'm not listening. Technically, I'm talking, but you're listening to a Tuesday tune-up on the Let's Go Win podcast. So today, I want to talk about something that has affected all of us, I believe, at some point in time. It certainly has affected me, and that is how to overcome burnout. In this modern world that we live in, it definitely is something that we deal with. And so I think it's something that I want people to address and know how to kind of deal with it. So as life can become quite overwhelming, it's important to learn ways to cope with stress, and more importantly, how to overcome the burnout. We have access to infinite knowledge in the palm of our hand, and the economy has continued to rise over the past 100 years. But we are also more stressed and burnt out than any previous generations that have ever come before us. So what is burnout? Burnout is defined as a psychological syndrome emerging as a prolonged response to chronic interpersonal stressors on the job. The job in that definition can be at work or at home. And I wrote about an acronym that you can use on how to combat this syndrome and get back to living your best life. So what I want to talk about is FILL. We are going to go fill our happy buckets and extinguish that burnout. So the first F is focus on purpose. Having clarity on why you're doing what you're doing is paramount to feeling that you're succeeding at the task, whether that's watching your kids or dealing with a project at work. What is the reason? One of my favorite authors, Viktor Frankl, said, "Those who have a why to live can bear with almost any how." That quote was taken from one of my favorite books. I've talked about it before. If you haven't read it, please do. That's called Man's Search for Meaning. And it's certainly applicable to everyday life. There will always be setbacks and frustrations, but your purpose will always trump those feelings. It's far more important than whatever adversity you're being faced with or burnout. The I, this is the fun part, incorporate play. Human beings are at their most creative, productive, and fun when they're at play. So why do we get so serious? And guys, I'm definitely talking to myself because we were taught early on in school to sit down and pay attention. Now, that sounds like pretty good advice for a teacher to be able to get their lesson plan to a class of 30 plus students. But there's some repercussions if we forget to have fun once the instructions are received. As Alan Watts, the famed writer, once said, "This is the real secret of life, to be completely engaged with what you're doing in the here and now. And instead of calling it work, realize it's just play." So for those of you that have forgotten to play, which I typically am one of those as well, we got to remember, don't take life so seriously. Remember to play, because some of your very best work is going to come out from that. The first L is less is more. One of the greatest challenges that we are faced with is having these smartphones that are tethered to us. Before the cell phone era, it was so much easier to leave work at work. It allowed us more downtime, recharge our batteries for the day before returning back to work. And being present wasn't such a challenge because a computer wasn't always there to check emails, scroll the news, or watch videos incessantly. So make sure you're setting your boundaries so you can be fully present at dinner, playing with your kids, or even watching your favorite TV show without constantly getting bombarded and checking those notifications. These devices, these smartphones are incredible. They have absolutely changed our world. A lot for the good, but in some case, and especially with burnout, for the bad. So I want you to give yourself permission. Put it away at 8 p.m. Whatever it is can wait until the next morning. I promise you, I've been that guy. I got to check that email. No, you don't. That email will 100% be there the next day, and you'll probably have a better answer to it anyway. The next L is lean on your friends. Studies have shown that people with fulfilling relationships have less stress and live longer. They've also shown that people want to feel wanted and valued. And I can't think of a better way to help yourself and your friends than just by reaching out for help. You get energized because they make you happy and they get to be a supportive friend, one that can lend some solid advice or just make you laugh. And more than likely, your friends have felt the same way you did at some point. Maybe they're feeling that way now. And this way, you know you're not alone and you get to connect with somebody that's special to you that can help fire off some of those positive endorphins. So when you're thinking about this burnout, I want you to go back and think of fill my bucket. So FILL. And the question I get all the time is, how long does it take to recover from burnout? How long does it last? That's different for everyone. But I want you to realize that burnout is a real thing. It's not something to be ashamed of. More than likely, you've just been putting in a radical amount of effort and time. And although you've been doing that, maybe your best work is yet to come. Maybe if you remember to fill your bucket, that you remember to focus on your purpose, incorporate play, less is more, and lean on friends, maybe your best work will come out of that. And most often for myself, that 100% is the case. So I want you to go fill your bucket. Your perspective will change. You'll have a renewed sense of energy, and you're going to achieve a whole lot more in a whole lot less time, and you're going to have a lot more fun. So if you're feeling burnout, it's okay. You're not alone. You certainly look around. Everybody at some point, I guarantee, has dealt with this. So utilize that acronym. Utilize it to get over that burnout and get back to living your best life, enjoying it, and doing some of your best work. So until next time, you guys, remember, your mindset matters. And make sure to subscribe, follow, share this with people, because at some point they were feeling this burnout. And if this acronym can help them, great. Share it with them and help them out. So, all right, we'll talk to you next week. Have a great one. Thank you so much for listening. If this content is delivering value to you, please make sure to subscribe, rate, and review us. That helps us build this community, and that is what we are all about. Building this community as big as we can, helping as many people as we can, and deliver as much value as possible. Be sure to head over to letsgowinpodcast.com for information on my coaching courses, and make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn at Let's Go Win 365. Let's go win and transcend in life.
This is the Let's Go Win podcast with your host, J.M. Ryerson.